kind of profile. So maybe we just need to check our mails on a mobile or do a couple of stuff, but then never really been working from home in the true sense. So for many of us, it's kind of a completely new experience, I'm sure. So one thing which of course keeps on haunting us is that the moment we somehow get over the anxiety of working from home, somehow managing the technology, then there is another scare, which is, okay, are the hackers around you? Is your system safe? So these are kind of troubling questions which generally we don't find answers for, and a kind of anxiety kind of grips us to say, hey, what is those things that I need to do to make sure that I keep my endpoint secure? And that's from somebody who's working from home's perspective. But mind you, the organizations have a bigger challenge because we are already into the 43rd day, if I'm right, into the lockdown south. And honestly, many of us really don't know where we are headed to. But one thing is for sure, many organizations certainly see this as maybe a partial or maybe a significant culture of work that is going to come in the days to come. So, which means obviously the fundamental foundation of this entire work from home culture has to be a secure work from home culture, and that's exactly where all our the perspective changes. Because, mind you, the hackers are really happy because they see that a lot of endpoints, you know, as somebody said that we were on BYOD, bring your own device in offices, and now we are saying, hey, you take your device, sit at home, and work from home. Or in some cases, the organizations will provide you their endpoints to work from home. So kind of completely differing profiles right across. But hackers realize that, and they know that, you know, they don't really care if it's COVID or the world is going through whatever. For them, it's opportunity, and that's exactly there. If you see a whole lot of malware, a whole lot of newer kind of scams that have been unleashed, wherein they kind of bank on your anxiety, your paranoia for the virus, your needs, like a simple thing like masks. The masks have turned out to be the supply of masks have turned out to be a very big scam. So a lot of links which you really don't know where they would lead to. And if you had the generosity to really, contribute, and you know that the PM Cares Fund, the credentials were again compromised earlier, in the sense somebody just put up a fake one. So it was very difficult for people really to find out what's right and what's not. So this is just kind of the scratch of the surface. But believe me, one of the statistics say that Google is encountering more than 18 million scam emails just attributed to this environment of COVID-19. So clearly, I think one thing is clear, that security is certainly a top of our minds, to say if we have to really work from home peacefully, we got to do something about it. Um, so that's where I think we have an excellent team today from Kaspersky, who are going to enlighten us on multiple dimensions of where we really stand in this current environment, and how can we help ourselves. And I'm sure you'll get quite a lot of advice on that, to say that how to stay secure while working from home. So that will be the kind of the theme of these discussions. So just to give you a flow of the format today, we would have a couple of speakers from Kaspersky, each of them talking on different perspectives and dimensions of working from home, especially given this kind of environment and the fast transforming cyber threat landscape. Then, of course, it will be followed by a session which is for open Q&A. So any of you could have any questions, the request would be you put it in your chat window, and I would get to see that. And depending upon, I would take the liberty of putting those questions to those respective speakers. Of course, we'll get to that when we get after these sessions. So at this point in time, I think I have pleasure to bring on board Guna, and Guna heads the ECAPS computers, and they're part of the channel partners of Kaspersky. So over to Guna, and Guna, request you to introduce the teams, and we check from there. Thank you. You have Guna there. Guna, are you there? Yes.
I think he's.
Priya, can you check if Guna is there? I think screen is frozen. So
Yeah, exactly.
but still
Or
we
what, Vittal, what we do is otherwise we start with Ebenezer and maybe,
No,
Guna.
I'm there. I'm there.
Is there?
okay.
Okay, great.
I'm
Great.
there. I'm there. Yeah.
Good, Guna. So
Yeah.
over to you.
Okay.
You're saying that you take over from here, introduce the team, and of course the flow, and we get along from there.
Yes. Okay.
Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Vittal. Good morning, everyone. I'm Guneshekharan. Can we have the slides on? Priya? The next one. Yeah. Next one. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. This is Guneshekharan, Director, ECAPS Computers India Private Limited. I'm happy to be part of this particular event. It was really great when I was thinking about the pandemic situations and how things are panning out, how safe we can be, how secure we can be at home. It will be the same for most of us who are working from home. That's the time when I was discussing with Kaspersky team. They said it is the right time and high time that we reach to maximum people to ensure that they are safe and secure as well. So thank you very much, Sachin and the Kaspersky team for getting us here and doing a session for TiE specific members. Let me introduce, can you have the next slide? Okay, about my company. We are basically a value-added information technology distribution company. We specialize in network infrastructure and IT security. We have 100 plus employees and an annual turnover of more than 190 plus crores. We are proud to say we are associated with Kaspersky since 2001. Can I have the next slide? I'm happy to introduce the stars of the day. And before that, the next slide, next slide. Yeah, I'm happy to introduce the stars of the day who will be taking you out through the entire session, who will be enlightening you the complete security perspective, how to stay safe in the environment of today's pandemic condition when you work from home. I'm proud to introduce Ebenezer Stephen, who is the regional head South India and Sri Lanka. Ebenezer brings almost 15-year experience in the cybersecurity industry. He has worked in big multinational companies like Fortinet, Symantec, and Sonata. So he has got a varied experience who will be good in taking you to how safe you should be, how secure you should be when you're working from home. I'm also proud to introduce Sachin Railwani, who's got more than 2 decades of experience. He's worked in a lot of multinational companies like Adobe, Oracle, Salesforce, SAP, those kind of companies. Sachin brings a good experience in handling partners. Probably when you build up a product of your own, such an experience can help you out in building the channels for your own community. You can post questions on them for him. Last but not the least, the special person, Kumaran, who was joined all the way from Malaysia, taking a request to give you a complete insight how a cybersecurity has to be handled when you work from home. He's got a lot of slides which will be interesting for you all to learn. With this, I pass on to Ebenezer Stephen, who will take on to the next session. Stephen, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Guna. So I'm audible, right? I'm good to go, right? Okay,
yes,
great. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Good morning. I would like to take this opportunity to thank TiE Chennai chapter to give us a wonderful opportunity to showcase Kaspersky product portfolio to all of you here in the call. I just want to get into the presentation. The presentation before that, I just set the stage for everyone to create what Kaspersky and what is a fact about for Kaspersky, so that you can be the same interest till the end of the presentation. So. Uh, uh, I just give you the overview for the Kaspersky, where we are started and where we are now. And this, yeah. So basically, like Kaspersky is a global company. We started in 1997. We listed in UK, United Kingdom. It started by Mr. Eugen Kaspersky, and we present in all the continent. And of course, we have physical offices in more than 200 countries and territories. And the day one we started to till now, we focusing for only for security. We started as endpoint security vendor. Till now, we've been focusing for endpoint, and we have many product line which is supporting for the endpoint, which is like, again, I just want to highlight this point. We are not changing our focus. We started as endpoint security. We've been focusing for the same domain. The second layer, if you see, like every year, there are 20 millions new customers is activating our license. That's a great number to refer. And currently, there are 4,000 people work for Kaspersky. Again, this is very important figure that you need to understand. As per the report of FDI 2018, we closed about 726 USD million. This is the great number in terms of endpoint vendor. If you compare with the world player like Symantec or Trend Micro or McAfee, we are, we have been number two position in terms of the turnover. Again, I'm repeating you, this is very important. Whenever you go for any any presentation, you need to know the company financial status, which is very important, the current situation. And third thing, achievement and the recognition. So this is again very important factor, that whenever you deal with any cyber security vendor, I just proudly say Kaspersky is one of the largest endpoint vendor in this world. This is the great stuff. I mean, I can proudly say that. Uh, the second thing, like if you see for last 3 year, consequently, we've been winning for a customer choice award in Gartner. Again, winning the customer award is a great, because we personally believe like the customer is a decision maker for us. The customer has to decide whether the product is good or bad, not any other third party. So we personally believe like customer is chosen our product and start from SMB to enterprise. That's a great success for us. And again, in terms of the third-party report, like VB100, NSE Lab, or etc., any report that you see, Kaspersky is scoring the toughest score in all the tests. I just want to give the three important factors from the slide. One is like you need to know the company vision, because at this point in time, after maybe the COVID is get over, then the real shape of the world. You see that many company will not be there in the industry. So in that situation, you need to be very clear which vendor you deal with. In that note, in that aspect, I just want to tell you 3 points in the slide. One is like the company vision. If the vision is not clear and vision is changing in every year, then it's not a right company to you deal with, or trust them. Again, Kaspersky started as endpoint security. If you see the Wikipedia, if you see for any report, that we've been focusing only for endpoint, and we've been supporting for the many product line, maybe for APT story, maybe for SOC services. But again, it's all supporting for the endpoint. And second thing, as I said before, turnover 726 million. It's like a great number to refer. And Kaspersky is a company, is a cash-rich company, which is like, again, I'm repeating for this line, cash-rich company, because in the current situation, if the revenue is not great, and you don't have a proper fund to run the show, then definitely you see the different heat in and going days. In that situation, Kaspersky is a great company, so there is no point or whether nobody can buy the Kaspersky, because we are great in terms of the number. And third layer, I just want to highlight, like in third-party report, we are very great in terms of you just go and just Google it. You see for any NSE lab report or maybe for any VB100, then we are a great scoring with all this parameter. And again, I just want to highlight 2 points, which is very essential and which is like very important, that we have a unique approach to the customer. One is like great team, which is like global research analytics team. So basically, Kaspersky as a company, we have the analytics team who based out in all these countries. We are not kept all the guys in one location doing for a research. We basically having the person based out in all the territories, all the countries, and the guy will do for a research a particular country, because the country attack will always differ from the world attack. Because for the recent attack of Maze ransomware, this is like, especially if you see that Maze ransomware attack is started in a different country, but it's in India, it's a different. They took a different approach, because this India is something different and world is something different. So we need to have a research team based out in India who can be to the good, supporting to the Indian government and of course for India customer. I proudly say Indian government, we've been giving so much recommendation, and of course CERT is our customer for a long time. And the second thing, we got our transparency center, which is like, any customer who buying for Kaspersky endpoint security, which is like you given a complete permission to Kaspersky, which is like I have the complete access for your devices. In that situation, you trusting us and giving opportunity to have the access for your devices, and it's my privilege to protect your devices. In that situation, you need to know like how transparency we maintaining in this, taking the logs and giving the security patches to you in the, so keeping that in mind, and we start the transparency center. So transparency center is very simple. Like any customer walk into our transparency center, which is available in Switzerland, Singapore, and Malaysia. So you can see how we're collecting the data from the customer, how we doing the research, and how we're giving the patches to the customer. And this is very important because customers trusting us, and of course we have to be very transparent to the customer what level of permission that we get from your end devices, and this is very important. And this is our unique approach. You can you can check with your security vendor wherever you deal with or whoever you deal with. None of the vendor don't have for a transparency center, which is like they're working in a different isolation method, but we be very open to the world, and we've been very open to our customer. We gain the customer. So keeping that in mind, that is the reason we got the customer award. So none of the vendor is good for the customer award. We score in the high score in Gartner in last 3 years, just because of we've been very transparent to our customer. We've been very supportive to our customer. That's it from side. I just joining in the last slide with the products presentation. I hand over to Mr. Sachin. Sachin is a channel head for India and SAC, a good friend of mine, and he can take you the current trend, and he can explain you how we can be better in the coming days and going forward. Thanks a lot for the time. Thanks a lot for listening to us. Sachin, stage is yours. Thanks a lot, Sachin.
Thanks, Ebenezer, for all the inputs on the Kaspersky overview. So good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are taking care of yourself and your family members and your friends at home. I know that it is not the easiest of the time, probably sitting at home and probably driving the business. But we have to probably live up to what we have got at this point of time. So I just quickly introduce myself. My name is Sachin Rilwani. I take care of the channel business in South Asia region. I have just recently joined Kaspersky. It's just been 2 months. 24th of Jan was my first date. But in 2 months, the first month, of course, was my learning about Kaspersky. It was like phenomenal while joining Kaspersky, because my past experience, as Guna explained, was in Semantic. One of the company was in Semantic. Completely different change in terms of my thought process was Kaspersky. It was not only an antivirus, because a lot of companies, they still think that's an antivirus company. But when I got into it and understanding what the company is about and what kind of service do we provide, I think the complete shift has happened, which of course some of my colleagues will cover that. But my objective of today's session is probably talking about the current trends in the global market at this point of time. So before I even start this, I just wanted to probably talk something about my past experience also. Guna has already explained that, but I have total 19 years of experience. I worked in large organizations like Semantic, Adobe, SAP, and Salesforce. So over a period of time, I've understood that the things are very dynamic, and the world will always be changing. And and where you are exactly at this point of time, you have to always upgrade your skills. This is the time where exactly you probably think about what kind of new learnings which you can do, and how you can probably push around the things at this point of time. So on the current affairs, my topic, of course, which I will talk on the current affairs and the current scenario. So today, look at every business, whether it's a small business or a large business or it's an enterprise. The fundamental block of connecting the customer is getting more and more difficult due to the unprecedented times of COVID-19. Now, let me give an example. Today, look at the startups. So startup today, there are two ways of looking into a startup. One thing, they have got an investor, or the other startup is thinking about probably getting an investment from from an investor. So let's take both the scenarios. Investor is probably investing, but he may try to probably reduce the cost and telling the startup company saying that, I cannot increase the cost because there is a challenge at this point of time in the market. The other scenario can be that the startup is probably ready for probably looking at an investor, but the investor is not ready because he's looking at the right time to probably investing in something. Some of the enterprise projects have gone on hold. Some of the small, medium enterprises are facing the challenges. They are not able to run the show. They're waiting for the right time, right opportunity, and they are still thinking what they should do. So today, what are the customers doing at this point of time? So some of the customers or some of the organizations, they are talking to customers and looking at engaging through online channels. So today, look at us. We are doing an online engagement with Zoom. There are some of the organizations like also probably looking at Google Hangouts or Microsoft Teams meeting, and they are loading at a lot of online channels and talking to each and every customer because they cannot stop the business. So today, a lot of startups or maybe small and medium enterprises are looking at this kind of online channel, talking to the customers. They cannot probably leave the business on table or giving to the competition, right? So that's why exactly there's a new mechanism of looking at the online channel at this point of time. What are the surveys which I've done? I was Googling around from a couple of days back, and more analysts and some of the countries have reported that online sales is increasing. Now, I'll give you an example. Some 2-3 days back, my wife was actually shopping from one of the grocery shop. Of course, uh, uh, it's like some of the large organization itself. They were all offline. My wife used to go and probably do the grocery shopping, visiting the grocery store and then buying it. Today the channels have completely changed. They have already innovated some of the things like online channel. There are a lot of organizations that are investing on the marketing tools. Some of the large companies like Adobe or Salesforce, they're probably looking at marketing cloud technologies, and they're giving the online channels to probably to talk to the customers. So companies that have online presence can get better engaged with the customers, and there's a new relationship altogether getting started at this point of time. The new trend, which is of course is starting right now, is the remote working. Today, all the organizations, because of the unforeseen, they are look at the employees who can probably work at homes, and they're looking at the best IT best practices, making sure that their employees are safe, their computers are safe, and the work is getting done. Now, how do you protect your computer? That's actually very important, right? End of the day, a user is sitting at home because he will be using his Wi-Fi. Now, is this Wi-Fi being protected? Is this Wi-Fi being encrypted? The channels are being encrypted, or his external devices are being blocked? So all this work has been done by the IT team at this point of time. So more and more time, more and more technology, the companies have looked at how we can probably make sure the remote worker is more effective, more productive, and making sure that the business is not affected. There are a lot of initiatives which are driven by the government, which is known as cyber safe initiatives. Because today, if you look at the number of crimes are like increasing day by day. There are like bank frauds, there are like, you get a lot of messages, you get so many mails which are known as phishing mails. Now, what is phishing? Let's understand that. So phishing is like an online scam where exactly you get some kind of a, some kind of a mail, let's say from a legit unlimited party, let's say some kind of a bank kind of a mail where exactly you say that, okay, open an account or put all your credentials, maybe generate an OTP, and it's some kind of a transaction which is actually happening on the mail. And end of the day, your entire money gets transferred on that particular account. So you get, and end of the day, you get more phishing attacks. You have to make sure that you're probably talking to the right party. So a lot of more initiatives are being driven on some of the online gaming or child pornography or cyber defamation, making sure that you're not visiting the false sites. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So today, what are entrepreneurs thinking? So it's very important that entrepreneurs are a step ahead in terms of the logical thinking, and they are doing a lot of planning. Now, it can be also possibility. There are many questions which are arising. Now, it can be, why should we do it? What should be done? Where should I go? And whom should we approach? And all of that questions comes in mind. So some of the questions which I was thinking, while putting on the slide is like, what can be the thought process of an entrepreneur? So first thing is like, how can I optimize my business with whatever the resources I have? How can I make sure that my business is profitable in the time of crisis? What should be my business continuity at this point of time? My business is very important. How can I make sure that my business continuously, and I'm more and more engaging with the customers? What should be my right market to strategy or go to strategy at this point of time till the time the lockdown is there? And what should be my strategy after the lockdown is over, and how I can move fast? How can I make more and more my employees adaptable to the current situation and getting more engaged with the customers? How can I create and cultivate the awareness of the current changing situation? There is a culture. There is more of an innovative idea. There are some creative ideas just to drive some of the sustainable growth, which and all the organizations are looking at this point of time. So today, at the current situation, people are looking at how I can probably look at my future roadmap as well. With whatever they have, the resources, whatever the team members have got at this situation, they are thinking still on a scalable platform. They know that what currently situation they may be driving it, but in next 6 months, they're making a short strategy. What should I drive in next 3 months, 6 months, and maybe what should be my plan of action for the next year? How fast I can run and how I can probably execute in a longer way. Next slide, please. So there is a message, or I just thought of putting across just from a from a motivation perspective, is that we all face difficulties and all the challenges will come in business. In 2008, there was a recession time, and everybody was saying that the global everything is gone down, but India was actually got better, and of course after that the entire global economy actually got driven in 2009. So things will always come, right? In 1930, 29 also there was a pandemic, and everybody was facing the challenges. It took about close to 10 years to probably survive back and probably get the economy on track. So the things will be getting difficult, but we cannot destroy us, and we cannot destroy it. But more and more logical that how we can overcome the situation, how we can promote ourselves and strengthen more and more, and make sure that your people, your family, your employees, your organization is probably looking at the new heights at this point of time. So with this, I'll pass it to my colleague, Kumaran, who will probably give the complete insights on some of the Kaspersky solutions and give the best cybersecurity insights. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Kumaran, over to
Sachin.
you.
I hope you all can hear me. All good?
Yes.
Fantastic. Hi, everyone. I'm Kumaran here. I'm the head of Inside Sales for Kaspersky APAC. Thank you very much for stepping in for this call. Now, first of all, before I start, I want to say thank you very much to TiE, Ms. Priya and Mr. Saurav to pull all this thing together. To our lovely host, Mr. Vital, you had a fantastic startup earlier. You mentioned about the 18 million email attacks from Google, which I was about to mention, but that was a fantastic point. Look at what's happening due to this outbreak. And to our very, very lovely partner, Mr. Guna. He's our national distributor for Kaspersky. So Mr. Guna, thank you very much to get this team together for this event. And not to forget my colleagues, Sachin, Harold, and Ebenezer, who have spoke before and who would speak again right after me. Thank you very much. Now, let me take this 15-20 minutes to give you a little bit overview about security awareness. I'm sure you have heard this or you know this, but I want to revisit this just for the next 15 minutes. Why? Now, there are very important basic stuffs that we probably have missed out, or we are very busy due to this pandemic situation. We are probably engaged with our BCP plans, still engaging actively with our customers virtually. But there are areas that probably need a little extra attention in order to keep ourselves safe and secure, in line with the topic of our discussion today. Now, what you see on top of this presentation slide, general thought. Now, I'm sure we have a very balanced audience. You may be from enterprise segment, from SMB segment, from various different verticals of business. But this is general thought about cybersecurity across the globe. Yes, many think hackers are genius, but I would want to say that there are way more geniuses in companies like us, Kaspersky, our data scientists, our security analysts are way more smarter than the hackers out there. But let's focus into the other parts, right? I'm sure majority of you have your devices, your companies secured, but I would want to pay a little bit attention on the small, medium businesses, the small, medium enterprises, the companies with 10, 15, 20 employees. Most of the times we think that we're too small as a target for hackers. Or many at times we will just ignore cybersecurity importance. Either we feel it's too technical or not necessary at all. At this day and age, no small company is small. You may be small in size, but you are having a big turnover. Now, to speak about an example, let's say you are a stationery supplier to Ministry of Defense. Now, if an attacker is intending to attack Ministry of Defense, they would not go attack Ministry of Defense. They would look for a loophole, for a small supplier, for somebody who have access or frequently lies with Ministry of Defense. Their email addresses, their telephone conversation, their WhatsApp conversation, anything, so on and so forth. Because he would be able to find the loophole when we are communicating with Ministry of Defense. So come back to the stationery. So if I am supplying stationery to Ministry of Defense, and there is a party would want to attack Ministry of Defense, then they would start to look closely into my stationery company to find a loophole. Imagine if you do not have a proper security to secure your email, for instance. You are already one vulnerable contact that Ministry of Defense has. And attackers are very smart to look at matters of this kind. Now, come back to what I wanted to say, right? So I spoke about this general thought. Now, let's just think a little while. I'm putting questions in your mind, because while I bring you through my presentation, I want to make you understand that these small things may matter a lot. For instance, if you're looking at auto screen capture, I'm sure many of you would feel that auto screen capture is nothing, it's impossible. But let me just share with you, it is possible. Your cameras, there is a small little tiny light beside your camera. Every time the camera is on, the light comes up on. Now, personally, my personal experience, I've never bothered about it until I started with Kaspersky. I read a report. Attackers can disable that light while your cameras are on. So think about how you want to cover that camera when you're not using it. Now, passwords. Is your device really safe when you're keying in password? Is anybody watching your device remotely? I don't know. It depends on what security solution that you're using. It depends on what devices that you're using. Okay, think about it while I speak through my presentation. Okay, COVID. Now, there's this joke that was shared on the social media everywhere. What brought the digital transformation for your company? Is it your CIO, your IT director, your government? No. And the answer was COVID-19. Why COVID-19? We have seen a lot of pandemics before, H1N1, SARS, many other pandemics, but not like this. This pandemic, due to the advancement of technology and media, everybody is having this single device where they can get any information even before it's flashed on the news. Now, with this mobile device, we are all so scared and afraid while we're being at home. That's number one. Things are changing. Secondly, we are all reaching out to our clients, our relatives, our friends, and family online. We are all the time on the computers or mobile devices. Even if we are on the TV today, very likely that we are on a smart TV accessing YouTube on the TV. So we're all connected this way. Take a look at the pictures, right? Now, just imagine, it is just for humor. I couldn't get the same baby picture. So imagine the baby that's on the baby, or the small kid that's on the shoulder of the mother is also the same person on the right-hand side. Just imagine that way. You are accessing your computer, you are aware about your security, you're aware about how you need to keep your password. But what happens if somebody else is watching you during that time? And that person that's watching you is your kid, or probably a guest in your house. What if they can take a photo of your screen and send it over through WhatsApp? Is your data really safe? Think about it. I'm not instilling fear in you, but I'm creating awareness, because We have guests coming into the house. We have kids, grown kids, kids' friends. We share video on applications such as what we are using now. People can take a screenshot. So with all this technology advancement, things are getting really, really different. And during this challenging time, we need to keep ourselves secure. I spoke about all this people related stuff. I was talking about a lot of people and awareness. Why? Now, research shows 80% of cyber incidents are caused by people. It can be me, you, your employees, anybody that is acquainted to you, people. Only 20% is automated engines, computers, and blah, blah, blah. Now, for these 80% people who are the reason for cyber incidents, what they are doing, it's either they are opening an attachment that they should not open, they are clicking on an email that they should not, they are visiting a website that they should not visit, they do not know their computer is infected, or they do not have any protection at all. Look at the kinds of losses companies are facing due to people being unaware. Now, this is some stats out of our research that I would wanted to share with you. Look at the kinds of percentage between the enterprise and the SMB segment. It's pretty much equal. Not only enterprises are affected with all these things, even SMBs. The people with 50 people, 100 people companies, anything below 250 users, it's considered SMB. Take a look at the bottom part, the first one on the left, speaking about mobile devices. Now, gone were the days you did not have a mobile device. Today, probably the good question to ask is how many mobile devices you have. I remember Mr. Vital speaking about bring your own device, BYOD. Look at the number of malware infection on your own device. This is something for me to share with you. So this chaos picture is to show you another example. If you are an audit firm that is working closely with Ministry of Finance, and it's time of the day or year that you need to submit your audit file, everything is completed, and today is your deadline to submit, but not knowing a new intern in your company have clicked on something that they should not click. This is how your office would be, okay? Be it your financial data, be it your revenue data, be it your personal data, personal photos, ensure and make sure it is in a form that is locked. There is a password on it. If you can zip it, zip it. If you can encrypt it, encrypt it. Make people aware that this data need to be safe. If you're putting it on the cloud, put it on proper cloud that is authenticated, that is a paid service. Safe keep your data in order for you to have continuity in business. Many threats are around in this world now, many. These are the popular ones. Some may know what I'm talking about. Some may be for the first time you're hearing this, right? Let me touch on some interesting ones that's very important. One of which is password. Credentials is one of the most popular cyber attacks in the recent days. I will show you why in my next slide, but a little tip that I would want to share. Don't use the same password for everything. Your computer, your banking, your phone, don't use the same password. Why? The moment you use the moment the attackers identify one password, everything is gone. Second, within the same family, do not share the same password as well. If you get attacked, your entire family is gone. Third, gone were the days that you use your name as your password, or probably followed by your birth date. Change it to some symbols, some totally things that doesn't make sense. Or I was reading on password methods. Now it has gone from just normal numbers and alphabets into phrase, a real long phrase like, I visited here at this date at this time, something that nobody else can even gauge with alphabets. Yes, it is a little difficult, but it is for our own security. Now, the next one is malware and ransomware. I am very sure that probably 15 years ago, when I first heard malware, what is malware? So the simplest way I can explain, it's a seed that is being planted on your computer to collect data. That's malware. And this data can be of useful of that party. It can be because they want to look into your file, some private and confidential document that they are trying to steal. Malwares, there's a lot, Trojan, worms, many. I'm not getting into that. But generally, you know, it is an agent that is planted on your computer, on your devices, to give feedback or collect data and pass it to them. Malware. Ransomware, this is the interesting part. Ransom, money, ransomware. It is an agent that is planted to collect details of, for example, your banking details, or it is spoofing your e-commerce website, something that as a return, they get money. That's ransomware. Ransomware is the most important thing that we need to pay attention during this situation. I'll speak about it in my next slide. Phishing alert. I remember Sachin speaking about phishing alert. Phishing or spoofing about the same. I just want to reference it to an easy reference. For an example, current situation, we're getting a lot of stimulus packages from government. Government are helping us on financial matters. Many things that government is helping us. So imagine if you get an email from Narendra Modi saying that, hey, Mr. Vital, here you go, the stimulus package from government of India, dedicated for your organization. What would you do? Probably if I'm not aware about security enough, I would think that Narendra Modi sent me an email. We have to go through some levels of check. It may look exactly, probably Modi at government.india. It may look exactly the same. The attachment may be just a PDF, but you do not know that these are something that is running on the background. I can probably say Narendra Modi is not going to send email to the entire citizens of India. It's not going to happen. But even that happens, it is impossible for him to do it directly. So there are certain checks that we need to check when we are looking at phishing and spoofing emails. It regularly happens when people are collecting details, banking details, national identification, passport numbers. They're asking for your addresses. They're asking for your family details. These are all the kinds of spoofing emails that you would be receiving during this situation. Now, interesting that Mr. Vital spoke about mask. Yes. For even supplying of mask, people are sending spoofing emails now, because hospitals are requiring like hundreds of thousands of masks. I remember reading a report that I think few million worth of masks that was ordered by Italy from China was just because of a spoof email. They just lost that order, but the money was transferred to the attacker. All right. This is something for you to think about. I want to share, this is a real existing news that is not made by me. It's available in your news. I've put where I got that contents from. This is to give you an overview of what's actually happening around you. This is just local Indian news. This is happening around you. Look at people attacking every mobile users because they know now everyone is on the mobile. Look at Cognizant having this Maze ransomware. So in ransomware, Maze is the latest attack. I just spoke about ransomware. What caught my interest is the third box on the right. Look at a ransomware attack. I remember I told you I would speak about ransomware. India is topping the list of ransomware attack. You guys need to safekeep your banking details, frequently change your banking details. And if you require to probably do some extra security, talk to your bank, talk to your experts, get yourself secure. Very important. Attack. Why attack? I may be sounding like an old record talking about attack. You would not believe attacks are no longer expensive. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can launch an attack on any companies. Look at where my green bear is focusing on. It just costs $66. This is in USD, $66 to cost or to start a ransomware attack. This is a business model, looks so interesting. And whatever ransom that they get a profit split, 30% to the person who initiated, 70% to the person who's benefiting. Okay, this is how inexpensive attacks are. Take note, dear friends. Now, I spoke about this awareness, right? Why you need to be more aware now than any time before? You're working from home. Everybody is on the device. Everyone is connected to internet. So why? Because you're not only connected with one device, you're connected with multiple devices. While I'm speaking to you, I have my smartwatch, my computer, and my phone with me, 3 devices. I'm sure many of you have a tablet with you, a wireless headset. You have your home devices like Alexa, many devices that has a firmware. Everything that is connected to your internet has to be safe. And you need to be aware how those devices are being used while it's at home, while it's out of home. Because if you are not aware, then you're vulnerable. I am sorry, my slide is moving. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to share. So dear friends who's on the call now, you can take a screenshot. This is what you need to do right away, probably now. You can tell your employees, your family, your IT team. These are quick tips to safekeep yourself today while you're working from home. I want to call out 2 or 3 important things on this part. Number 1 is security awareness. Second one, everybody is connected through Wi-Fi. Change your Wi-Fi password frequently and do not share your Wi-Fi password with your guest. Have another channel just for your guest. There are many reasons. If we do a deep dive on that, we would not have enough time. And I spoke about authentication for your banking applications. Set a 2-factor authentication. Very important. Now, everybody is connecting. Nobody is walking to a bank because banks are all closed. And 2-factor authentication is minimum that you can do. This may look a lot. I hope you all have got this information so that you can make use of this information. Let me summarize it. Today, if you want to protect yourself, this is the 6th most important thing. Let me speak about the first rule. Software update. Any devices that you hold, watch, phone, tablet, computer, anything, has an operating system update, has an application update. While you're speaking to me now, please open your mobile and start updating. You would not believe it. I've been tracking this for about 2 weeks. Every day, at least 15 to 20 applications on my iPhone has a bug fix. Every day. That means the engineers in the company where they own that applications are working hard to patch every single security incidents. But if we don't get our devices updated, we will lose it. I spoke about password. I'm not going to repeat on password. Social media and your private email. Settings in terms of spammings and junk, we always overlook it. I remember speaking to my mom. I opened her Gmail, 4,900 plus email unread. Everything was Facebook reminders and notification. Now, these are the things that you need to play around with the settings. Why? Let me speak about junk email. If you know it's a junk email, and if you take that effort to mark it junk, Google's engine would understand this domain and this SMTP server is delivering junk. They will keep a watch. The moment the watch touches red zone, they would then secure it globally, nobody would have any problem with that particular domain. Now, I know people who are sending these junk emails are they are more smart. They would spoof IP address. That's a different chapter. But at minimum, we need to do this. Let's look into the next tier, secured VPN or secured internet. Now, you're working from home and your file server sits in the office. You access internet to get that file. If you're accessing through normal internet connection, and if you do not have a VPN and you are a company, let's say you're a finance accounting company, a lot of files, there are people instantly watching through that pipe. What can they pull out? What information that they can grab? It's just like a telephone, right? What interference? Same. While you're transmitting data, there'll be interference. So you use a secure connection, a VPN, when you're transmitting data. Very important. Now, most popularly used word today in these recent days is frontliners. Frontline for your devices is endpoint solution. If your frontline is not there, not updated, you're not using a good solution, bye-bye security. Very important. Last but not least, the most important, security awareness. Everything that I just spoke to you, you need to make people aware, people around you, you yourself, you can read. These contents are no longer alien. It's all available online. The important part is being aware about what's happening around you. Okay. Now, I would want to move a little bit faster. My time is getting to an end. Now, this is how security was before. You must have known all these characters, all these expensive actors. This is how it was. To secure every device, you need a special guard, a special person who's expensive for your mobile device, for your computer, for your file server, blah, blah, blah. But things have evolved. The world is changing. Today, I am not sure if you know, you can have one guy to protect the entire thing that you have. You buy one thing, it protects your mobile, your tablet, your computer, your Office 365, just one license or one product. And look at solutions of this kind, because when you're having a business continuity plan of this kind, you're working at home is a backup plan for your business, you want to work with something that is easy for you to manage, control, and correct. If you can only manage, you can't control, it's a trouble. If you can control, you can't correct, you need to go back to office to correct it, also it would not work. So pay a little attention on it. Now, I spoke about general security awareness. This product, I'm not here to hard sell any product. I just want to give you, what was the product that I was referencing to? This is the latest product that we have launched. See, it has been there all the while, but we have launched the latest edition with this COVID situation and all. Our CEO is very kind. I'll speak about that in the next slide. So with this CAS Cloud or Kaspersky Endpoint Security Cloud, why am I talking about this today? Everybody is sitting from home. You can't get any IT engineers on site. Your police, your army may not be able to let anybody travel on the road. So deployment of this endpoint to your devices. Number one, it's going to be a single purchase for multi-device. Number two, no IT resources is required. All you need is just a link. You can even share that link on WhatsApp. Click on that link, it will get installed, it will pull update, your device is secure. And you can track, monitor.
Sorry to be the devil here. I think
yes,
your session is going absolutely fine. And I just had one question before we really... If you can please just go to the previous slide. Okay, so you are saying that there is a new approach that you look at when it really comes to a single point handling of this stuff. So I'm sure, people have their choices to make in terms of product. I know your product has its own good merits and good things, but maybe it would be good if you can just give that choice and say, what's it in terms of the approach that people really need to look at when they are looking at, products in this class of products there. So that's the question I had. Thank you.
Okay, I think that is a good question, Vital. I'm sure people have choice to pick whether they want to use the traditional technique or they would want to use the modern technique. But I also would want to tell you that companies are moving away from this technique. Now, I'm sure my colleague Ebenezer is going to speak about it. If you look into products like a regular endpoint solution, previously, this is how it was. For our company, I'm not talking about any competitors, for our company, we have brought everything consolidated. So we call 7-in-1. We have brought all this together, even in our on-prem solution. So similarly, we have something like this on the cloud solution. Now to address you, people may ask this question, is it secure to have all these things consolidated together? I would want to tell you something. It looks consolidated, but there are separate brains and engines on the back end that is working to secure each different devices or each different technology. Give you an example. We were speaking about this. Let me just move on. I can show you an example. Okay, I'll revisit this back, give you an example of this particular product split. It's one little product, but if you look into every single line, for example, firewall, it's a different engine. Network attacker, there's a different engine. Vulnerability, patch management, different engine. So what am I trying to say here? It looks consolidated for the end users. Today, we want to have an easy approach. Let us worry about the difficult part. Let me, Sachin and Ebenezer, Harold, to take care of everything on the back end, because we have a great research team. We have an amazing team on the back end working. To the end customer who's running their businesses daily, they do not want to be managing different solutions because that's going to take time. It's going to cost a lot in terms of IT. Does that answer your question, or do you want to get a little deeper? I think you're on mute.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think it's fair in terms of, you really said how the approach needs to vary, and I respect your product would have some fantastic things, which I'm sure we can leave some information with the users, offline. So it's good to know that when you look at the architecture of how really you approach cybersecurity is a learning which people have to look at when they are choosing their products. I think that's a good point. Thank you.
Thank you, Vital. So let me continue with what I was saying. So we were speaking about CAS Cloud. So easy to deploy, no IT resources. You can manage remotely through this ID, cloud.kaspersky.com. Everything that you need to control is on it. Now, there is two versions to it. There is a basic version and a plus version. Now, on the plus version, there is something that I want to highlight. Remember speaking about my CEO. So we are also looking at ways to pay back to the society. We know majority of people who are on email, they are using applications like Microsoft 365, Google, and so on and so forth. We are now giving free at no cost. Office 365 is a full-fledged product of ours, which secures Exchange Online, OneDrive, SharePoint, and Microsoft Teams. We're giving it for free with all this pandemic that's happening at no difference in terms of cost with our CAS Cloud Plus solution. So if you look into the difference in terms of product, right, you can see the new cloud discovery, cloud blocking, and also Office 365. Let me speak about a little bit about cloud discovery or cloud blocking. It's called shadow IT. Today, your employees are working from home. They might be sharing contents of your company. Probably, let's say, if again, you're an audit firm and you have a competitor, and they can be sharing an audit report that is not yet published, but they know they can't share through the corporate email. They can share it through public domain, public cloud. CAS Cloud can stop that. You cannot upload anything to your Google Drive or your OneDrive, or even sharing contents on WhatsApp. You know, you can use WhatsApp web. So these are the kinds of controls that's available in our latest CAS Cloud Plus. If you need more detail, you can speak to Mr. Guna. I'm sure he'll be glad to assist. Now, let me wrap it up. I was speaking about awareness. What I'm doing today is creating awareness, but not all the time we get this sort of time to sit in a classroom, speak about security awareness. We have a full-grown product within Kaspersky called Kaspersky Automated Security Awareness Platform, or in short, we call it ASAP. It is a platform where it is a very interactive platform. Number one, it has gamification kind of content. It touches everything that I spoke about: phishing, password, malware, ransomware. Your employees can go in and take those trainings, get themselves certified, and eventually that would safekeep your organization. Okay, so ASAP is available, and in case you would want to run some trial, okay, so I'm sure I'll skip this. I'm sure you would want to run some trial on our CAS Cloud product, on our ASAP product. Please get in touch with Mr. Guna. He'll be able to assist. You can try our products for 1-2 weeks, a month at least, before you can make a decision. Look at what you can do with our products. With that, I wish, thank you so much. Vital, you have a question.
Yes, I really appreciate that. So my premise was to see that we would provide as much of the useful information, and certainly ensure this is available for them to pick on who those would be interested in the products. So we'd certainly take them, let them take it offline. I'm sure Priya or somebody would be sharing those credentials with whomsoever. So I think we'll get on with the next part.
Thank you very much. I would pass it over back to Ebenezer for him to get through the entire solutions that we have. Thank you for listening, everybody. I hope you all keep safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks, Kumana. You nicely explained for the Kaspersky product portfolio and for the awareness and for the cloud story. Once again, thanks a lot. I'm just taking through for the Kaspersky offering. So what product line that we have right now and how we can, focusing for our all this, sort from your endpoint to perimeter level security. And I can explain you as much as possible to make you to understand the complete security offering. Next slide, please.
Stephen, I have a request here. I mean,
yeah.
Have the Q&As and then we could go on to this.
We can have a Q&A session in later stage. After my session, we have a time to have the question answer.
Yeah, but there is a request from TiE saying that, hey, can we have the Q&As now? And then, we could go on to this.
Of course, yes, we can. Please.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, sure.
So Priya, would you like to have the questions come on, please? Thank you.
Yeah, for those of you who have questions, you can type in your questions to the host.
Okay. It's an interesting question. I guess I should possibly put it to Ebenezer. He would be the best guy to answer that. There's a question to say that there is a ransomware attack on a customer's server, and what is it that can help them to really protect or recover the disk back? So I believe it has happened in more than 10 places. So that's a question of saying, hey, how do we handle this?
Okay.
You
So
want to take it or you want to pass on? I'm fine with that.
no, I can explain as much as possible. If something is missing, then my team will
Wonderful.
give the clear, submit to the customer. See,
Wonderful.
basically, I can give you what is for the ransomware. Ransomware is like it's not a target attack. There's a difference between the target attack and the ransomware. Ransomware is like the sending a n number of mail to the customer, and whoever is a victim or whoever is a weakest guy to open the link and can be get compromised from the particular link. That's how the ransomware used to happen. See, to first of all, you need to mitigate for a ransomware. You need to be updated, as Kumaran said very clearly. You need to be updated for the operating system updated, and you need to be your application up to date with all the proper updates. If you have set in the platform, so you can be stay away from the ransomware. Option number one. Second number, in Kaspersky, we have the option called exploit mechanism, which is like the particular file, not even executed in the world for twice or thrice, then the particular file will never execute it from your network, which means any attack, it may be a target attack, it may be a ransomware attack. If the particular execution not even happen for well 3 or 4 times, then definitely it's a suspicious. It may be maybe a target attack or it may be the ransomware attack. So you can stay away from those attacks. The third thing, if in case if you get compromised for one PC is get compromised, if you are using for a Kaspersky, first of all you need to make sure that a particular device or maybe the server or maybe the laptop, it has to be isolated. And in Kaspersky, if if you do the proper isolation immediately, then we can able to take the data and we do the forensic, and we can able to retrieve the data. Again, retrieve the data, it's a big question mark. Like we can do that if provided if customer can do proper update and customer can do everything on their network is clearly updated, then definitely we can able to retrieve the data, which is like limited time. Normally that hacker kept the key in the LAN network itself. They never take the key out majorly. So this is possible. Again, if you are a customer of Kaspersky, then definitely we can able to support you with those areas. Sachin, you want to add anything, or Kumanan, you want to add anything?
I think Ebenezer, you already.
I'm good.
Yeah, Ebenezer, I think you have beautifully explained that in terms of what ransomware and what threats are targeted. I think question was absolutely good, because a lot of customers they like to protect their servers, because today server has got so many applications, your email, your web, and everything is there on the server. Your data is very important, and all your users are actually connected to server. So how do you protect it? The most important thing is probably look at some of the security aspects of it. And like some of the solutions, what we have is like hybrid cloud security, which will make sure that your overall servers are being secure, and your data is also protected.
Great. I think there's a follow-up question to say, hey, I got all our files encrypted. So what do you do? Is there a solution to really get them back? So it's already attacked.
Okay. So there's a two way to do that. So one is like if there is a customer, can you tell customer what product they have been using? What antivirus?
I'm not sure we have that information, but maybe you can just give a generic response.
Okay, I can tell you. See, because if the data is gone, if customer is not able to drive the data, then that is an option called we have for incident support, where we can, if it is for enterprise customer, they want to get back the data into their network and the data server is for very critical, then we have the team and we can do the complete forensic and where we can try to get the data back to the network. It's a big question. Like we need to know the customer, infra. If customer is like not properly then their infra, the design properly for their infra, it's very difficult to get back the data.
Okay, great. This is kind of a slightly different question. Possibly, I think Konan could take this. He says, this is from Sendil Kumar, and he says, what would be proactive for an experienced data science engineer in cybersecurity field? So, you guys being in this field, where do you see, the career graph for people like this, like Sendil?
Can you repeat that question again?
Okay.
You're speaking about the career growth for people in the security field.
So he is. I'll read out the question as it is. He says, what will be a proactive thing to do for an experienced data science engineer in cybersecurity. So if he wants to really move on into cybersecurity.
Interesting question. Let me think about it. Okay.
That's a tricky question.
Yeah. So when you say data science, am I right? Data science.
Yes.
So data science, if you want to move into cybersecurity, so let me echo on what my CEO says. This is not my statement. If you want to be an excellent cyber security person in terms of developer, not the frontliners like us who is selling the product, in terms of securing or analyzing the codes, then you need to be a mathematic expert. So if this person Sendil is a data science person, I'm sure he must be a maths expert. So I think it is something for him to try out, get into. He can start off with cybersecurity analytics. It can be whether related to business analytics or even stepping deep into analytics related to algorithm, reports, incidents, threats. This is what I can think of. I'm very sure data science is at the peak of its demand now. Everybody is looking at data, looking at all of us who spoke, we referred to some data, we write here, we referred this, we referred that. So I'm sure data science is in demand, it's an in thing. In cybersecurity, do we need people like you? Yes, of course.
If I may, that's a great response. So if I can just add to what Kumanan said for Sendil and those who may be looking at this perspective, I can tell you because I sit on the Reserve Bank of India's cybersecurity panel, and we see how the threats really pan out in the banking sector, because that's exactly where it happens. And believe me, security is not easily done, because you could have false positives, you could have false negatives, and it is very difficult to really say, oh, okay, this could be an attack. So that's where data science really comes in, because there are new products which embrace a lot of data science. I'm sure Kaspersky also does that. But the important thing is, yes, as Kumaran said, data science is going to be very much part and parcel of cybersecurity, because you need very reliable prediction of what could be an attack. And before it, for example, the previous question to say if it's a ransomware attack, before the ransomware really takes over, it's important to act as soon as the ransomware really starts getting its foot into your system. So that's where behavioral analytics can significantly help with regard to how the packets behave, and what kind of the defense mechanism needs to get triggered. So I think that's my take on that. Somebody would like to add? Okay, so I'll go on to the next question. Okay, this is more from, to get to understand. I think any of you can take that. Conan, you did highlight the 6 top things, that was pretty useful, I'm sure, for everybody who wants to really protect themselves. But, my question is slightly different from an organization perspective. And it could be a large organization, or it could be SMB, or even a startup. So what is it that, what would you think that are the top 5 things that they should take care when they are rolling out a work from home or a significant work from home option?
Can anybody who's controlling the slide go back to my top 6? Okay, so good question, Vital. Any organization now, based on so I'm just waiting for the slides to roll up back. Yep. So one more. Okay, correct. So this is out of many studies. So as you refer to my previous, the one that's before this, there's many things that you can consider working out in terms of this current BCP plan that you're having, right? If you refer to the second line, so you ask for top 5, the only thing that you can exclude here is the social media. Besides the social media, this is the 5 most important thing any individual organization that needs to take care for now. Now, VPN sounds a little strange to some people, but I tell you, with this current situation, if they are accessing a non-cloud situation whereby accessing a local server that is sitting in the office without VPN, you're probably unsafe. So to keep it simple, this 5 is the most important and crucial. And this is not, I'm not quoting it out of just my thought. I spoke to some people out of HQ, my HQ, they belong to the, so it's called Great Research Team. I've forgotten the full, it's a research and analytics team. Great research and analytics team. So directly from them, this is what they feel. If you frequently update your application, if you have a strong password, if you're connecting to the net with VPN and ensuring to have a proper full-fledged endpoint solution, not the free one, paid endpoint solution with minimum requirement, you need to have encryption, patch management, a device control, application control kind of stuff. Update every day if you can, very frequently. And the last one, make all your employees aware about what they are opening, what they are clicking. They are going to catch their coffee, lock the screen. They're going to the washroom, lock the screen. Do not share password with other colleagues from sitting across India just because they wanted to use your email ID to send an email. Don't do that. If this 5 thing is taken care for now, you have got the first box checked, Vital.
Great. I think that's a very good response, I would think. Of course, in terms of, I would add that in terms of the risk assessment and the processes, organizations would do well because it clearly depends upon what kind of data and what is the sensitivity that they are handling. And they need to make sure that, the dynamics of their investment in the gadgetry and what really goes into that needs to be robust enough. So you need to look at defining that need from the protection of what kind of information that you're looking at, and then going in for the right kind of solution.
So Vital, I'll just add to this because as you just mentioned, the small SMB and the enterprise level set of customers, today the large organizations or the enterprise customers have something known as security modules.
And
so
sorry,
every employee.
Sachin, can you please little more loud, please? Not able to hear you.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was talking about the same quote which you just asked, like, what should be the best practice, whether SMB or enterprise should follow. So today, large organizations or the enterprise customers have something known as security modules. So if a new employee joins in, so there are some kind of certification or some kind of trainings which has to be done on the security awareness. So that's where the large organizations are following that. For small organizations, we are making also sure that, some of the employees are being trained maybe for a 1-hour session, and there are some of the partners probably giving them the guidance on the security awareness programs as well.
Great. Yeah, that's a good thought. Okay. I think one more question is on what would be those, if you can say, the top vulnerable practices that people need to be mindful of in the coming days, because we see that hackers are getting their attention more onto the endpoints. And while you did, of course, the solution you did say in terms of the technology defense, but is there something like when people are really going and connecting, let's say from hotspots, and which is something very common, and they are accessing even their maybe enterprise payment systems and kind of stuff, and also the kind of profile completely changes when you start doing all that, and you suddenly go back to Facebook, click somewhere, come back here. So what would be your thought to say, hey, avoid these A, B, C, D?
I would start. Sorry.
Yes, please go ahead. I'm fine.
Let me start. So it's a very good question, right? During this situation, we need to be very careful about many things. One of the first things that this is out of readings that I've got in the recent days, anything that is related to healthcare, mask, hand sanitizer, any transaction that you want to do in eBay, any e-commerce platform, make sure if you got a email and it says eBay, when you click on that particular link to buy that product, check the URL if it is really ebay.in, because it will look as if it's eBay, but if you don't check the URL, it's probably something else. That's number one. Number two is anything that you are paying or you are buying out of application. For example, if you are delivering groceries to home or whatever other things, if you may use cash on delivery, use that function. For this time, for any new, because there is new, I don't know the numbers, but at least here in Malaysia, many new application that is coming up every day. It's like mushroom after rain. You do not know how secure they are. And if it is from platforms like Google Play Store, you can just upload your application and tomorrow somebody can start using it. So be careful about what you use, especially if it is a new application. That's the second one. And the third one is, like I mentioned, your banking application. Make sure you have two-step authentication on your banking application. Don't share passwords with anyone. Make sure you're using your banking application on your devices, which is your mobile, your computer. Don't keep switching computers or other people's or public machines. This is the top three things that I would wanted to share.
Great. That's a good thought. Anybody else would like to add?
I think Kumaran just mentioned about the password sharing. Make sure that your passwords are protected and you're not probably sharing some of the passwords maybe to your family members or outside, because many of the times the banking, some of the messages you keep on getting it nowadays, and I've also hearing a lot of stories and probably get into newspapers. You get some kind of a message, and then probably somebody's asking for an authentication for an OTP, and you're sharing the OTP as well while talking to them. So be very sure and very safe that probably you're not probably talking to them and probably giving your confidential information to the outside party.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Sachin.
I wanted to add another thing. Now with everybody working from home, we are required to still work during our working hours. So one of the things that I've heard people sharing is getting our kids to log onto our computer while they are still preparing, getting their breakfast or coffee in the morning before they hit their machine. Now, think about it very deeply, because if your kid logs onto the machine, pulls up the email, and starts typing something and sends to a recipient that you do not know, or you have typed something on the draft and they hit send, what would happen?
Yeah. Very good. Very valid points. Great. I think so. There are some very good lessons of do's and don'ts. I just, wanted to pick on, you guys have privy to a lot of research that's happening on where the cyber threat landscape is moving. So where is it that you see that, with COVID kind of accelerating the, if I can say the threat landscape, where do you think that we are heading to in the coming days? Is there a thought that you could share from maybe your research or maybe your own thoughts?
So Vittal, if you look at the originality of an antivirus, let's go back 15 years back when I was actually selling the hardware in the market. So when we used to go and talk to the top management, the CEOs or the C-level executives, so antivirus was very new at that point in time. Nobody actually wanted to probably invest in antivirus for the overall organization. That was 15 years back I'm talking about. Later on, antivirus, because so many thefts actually happening across the C levels and the D levels have thought about it. The organization requires an antivirus, and the things are changing. As you correctly mentioned, the threat landscape is changing and the overall perspective of cybersecurity is changing. So it's not only the plain antivirus right now. It's all the user behavior or all the blacklisting or the whitelisting of the applications which has been done. The things are really dramatically changing, and that is the reason you see so many products and solutions coming on the endpoint detection and response kind of solutions. So yeah, the things will change and it will change dynamically. And the only challenge which we require right now on cybersecurity threat landscape is that you require actually the right skills. Because today, if you look at the overall India market, you don't have much of the right skills. You probably have to go and train them, enable them, and making sure that there are a lot of courses which they are attending it. So I think the cybersecurity landscape will keep on changing. It's a very dynamic, and that is the reason you see so many companies are investing on the cybersecurity products and offerings.
Great. In fact, I had a very a question coming from somebody saying, "Hey, do you have an antivirus for my smart TV?" So maybe you guys would like to answer that.
So I can take this one. Okay. So one of the customer of Kaspersky, is not a Kaspersky, it's one of the project which we have been doing with for a long time. The customer name is for a Lumiford. I can quote the name here. This is a smart TV manufacturer. Okay. They come back to Kaspersky, and they said, they want to have the security for their smartphone. They're going to launch a smartphone very soon in India, almost ready. So we are going with them for securing for their for the smart TV. So the use case came from a different way, because if you see last some time, probably if you see some article of India magazine, so they said very clearly one of the smart TV get compromised, and the smart TV get recorded the complete of what we happen in the home, and they send it to the unwanted site, and this the complete video kept into the pornography site. So, and this the use case, the customer, the Lumiford as a customer come back to us, we want to securing our TV first, because whenever you got internet, whenever you go for internet, then it's the particular device may be the vulnerable. It may be any device. It may be for your printer, it may be for your smart TV, or it may be your smart AC. So in that situation, so Kaspersky have option. We have the product called SDK, security. SDK means like security development code. So this will be giving the complete security for your IoT devices. It may be any devices. It may be for a smart TV, or it may be for your smart AC or whatever. So we can have the security portfolio. This is very essential if you see in recent days. So any IoT devices, it has to be secure enough to handle the current threats. Otherwise, maybe you need to face the heat.
Yeah, good thought. Good thought. Thank you. I think yeah, do
Well,
we?
I just want to add on to what Ebenezer said, Vital. So you asked about what are we seeing as a company with this pandemic situation. So I'm not sure. I've just shared a link with Priya. If you all can pull that up, you can share it with all the participants in this call. This is based out of our research team that I was referencing earlier. If you scroll down, there will be three big header that they have mentioned. Watch everything that is related to streaming. It can be on the computer, on the TV, Android box, TV box. There's good content here with links and references. It's a good read. Next is anything related to e-commerce, shopping. Take 5-10 minutes to read this content. It is amazing content. We always miss out this teeny tiny details. HTTP or HTTPS makes a lot of difference with a S and without the S. So take note on matters of this kind. And when you are using your credit card details, that so like I mentioned to you before, on a proper SSL encrypted web page, when you key in your credit card details or your password, even you can't see it. It'll be a dot or a star. If you realize, if there is any way you key in your password and you can see it, something is wrong. Immediately switch on your computer or get out of the internet connection, because this is something that you can take care of. And lastly is fake news. Beware of fake news, phishing and spoofing emails, because now everybody is speaking about health. We are all locked down. We do not know what's happening on the neighborhood or right across the street. So beware of fake news. And this is directly from our team, and it's published online. It's available for everybody that's on the call.
Great. I think that's very good inputs. I guess people can go through such kind of guides. As it rightly says, a digital survivor guide. That's a good name to that. I'm sure going forward we'll be looking for security protection for the autonomous cars that are coming up, and the TVs, the fridges, and God knows what all. There's going to be pretty interesting days to come ahead. I'm sure you guys are bracing up to all that. Thank you so much for those responses. So I'll just check once more with Priya to say if we have any more questions. I guess I guess not. So I think Ebenezer, thanks for accepting to for promote the Q&A session. I guess there'll be a good lot of churn in the minds. I now on to you to complete your part of your presentation, please. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Chief. So
Just
again, good afternoon.
So I'm sorry, Vital. I don't want people to step up because Q&A finished, right? This is an important part just to see an overview of what Kaspersky is all about. Because previously we just spoke generally. I just want Ebenezer to go through our products and offerings, look at the tierings that we have, and we'll finish up with awards and accolades that we have. Not because it's just I'm a Kaspersky person, right? We're speaking about Kaspersky. Look at what the market is speaking about Kaspersky. Kaspersky is a total different subject when it comes to cybersecurity. I can reference one. We have a technology called anti-drone attack, because drone is now known to be, spreading poisons in farms or even carrying guns where it can attack through whatever story buildings. We even have technologies of that kind. So just for everybody who's listening, give 5-10 minutes for Ebenezer to go through this part. It would be very valuable to you. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot,
for that
Kumaran.
input. I'm
Thanks a lot.
sure our participants are listening. I'm sure we still have quite a lot of them who are here to listen to Ebenezer. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Good afternoon. We'll jump into the good afternoon now. So I'll take 15 minutes of your time. I just try to, give my presentation very short and make my meaningful presentation. So basically, like if you see any cybersecurity offering, you go for any presentation of cybersecurity domain, they can give you for a 3 layer of security. One is like a basic level, which is we call it as a security foundation, and the next layer is for the advanced, and third layer is for the integrated cybersecurity approach. So Kaspersky is covering for the complete point. Let me explain you how we can support you in this product line. Next slide. So, okay, I just want to take some time on this slide. This is very important. So far, we just heard about for the complete, the trends and the threats, and we spoke about for many things. But this is very important slide. Everyone need to be understand. See, basically, in any customer, it starts from SMB or middle SMB or enterprise. Any customer, they fall under any one of this slab. Maybe the foundation, I said before. Foundation is for commodity attack, which is like known threat attack. In that area, we have a 3 bifurcation. One is for the endpoint security, and the next layer is for the network security, and third is for the data security. I'll start with endpoint security. So Kumaran is covered very well in the endpoint security on cloud. But what I'm saying, like endpoint security, we have on-prem as well. I said before in the one of the question answer that we said very clearly, like the ransomware attack was happened just because of the operating system is not updated well, and there was an incident, the password is get compromised. Just because of the password is get compromised, that complete network is gone into the trap. So we know all this story, right? So in considering all this in mind, so in Kaspersky we have the 3 flavor. One is for the select, and the next flavor is for advanced, and the total is for the comprehensive of all this platform, which is like network security and the data security. I can explain you a bit about for the product line, but this is very important. So Kaspersky, as I said before, like, we are giving all in one SKU, which is like if you buy for Kaspersky endpoint security for your your organization, this will comes along with your malware protection. This is basic malware protection. And the second thing we can give you with the, patch management. So this is patch management is very important. I can give you a classic example with a real scenario. So because we all out of office from last some days. Okay, we are not updated properly from Microsoft. Maybe we are not updated from some application of ours because of the internet bandwidth of our home, or maybe there's some reason. Okay, the moment we get into that office, we just try to take all the update from the LAN. Okay, that particular time, if my PCs get compromised, my laptop is may get compromised, immediately this hacker will take a control of my PC or maybe my device and launching the attack to the complete organization. So in particular time, because you are not updated, so Microsoft give an update, but you are not taken update. This is Microsoft very clearly, this is not my mistake. This is like your mistake. You are not taken update. In that scenario, Kaspersky patch management will give the complete protection for your application for the particular time. Because 40 days you can't take update because of that is for some MB file, or sometime it may be a GB file. You don't want to take update now. You can put the later stage. In that scenario, Kaspersky knows that our agent running in your device, we know that the PC is not updated properly. In that situation, so particular application, it may be any application, Adobe, maybe a Salesforce, or maybe a Microsoft, we can give a complete protection till that time you get updated from your LAN or maybe from the better internet connection. This is unique feature that we have with our endpoint. And second thing, asset management. See the current situation. If you see, there are any company, even for SMB customer or maybe enterprise customer, they have spread across all the places in the world. So as IT manager sits out in Chennai or maybe in a different location, if you want to take the report of all all the asset what they have, this is very difficult to take the report. But in Kaspersky, we can give you the asset management tool, which will runs on your server, and I can take the complete report from all the devices spread across all the world. For example, I based out in Chennai. If I want to take the report of one guy sitting in Mumbai, if I want to run the asset management tool, I can get the complete report from the PC. How many, what are the software this guy installed, and which is the software is pirated one, and which is the software is not updated properly. I can get the complete report in a single dashboard. So as per the company policy, for example, if some guy is installed for some pirated software, which is as per the company policy, that should not be in your laptop, I can take a remote, I can I can delete a particular application without the person permission. So this is asset management. And second use case of the assetment, like for example, you have for Adobe license for 1,000, but utilization is only for 800 number. Then the next year subscription renewal time, you can take a call whether doing for 1,000, you can do it for 800 numbers of subscription renewal. Again, that is a cost saving. So again, I'm telling you, this is a unique feature that we have within our product line. Default, it come along with our product. And third thing is encryption. So in encryption, we have a two vertical. One is for information centric encryption, and the other vertical is for the full disk encryption. So information centric encryption, for example, you want to encrypt the data, which is a file name called database, or maybe the balance sheet, or maybe the customer database, or whatever. So the particular file or the particular name, it can be encrypted any point in time. If you take the data from your pen drive, or if you take the data from any external stuff, the data will be encrypted. The file cannot be viewed in any other devices. This is a best use case because we given a laptop to the people who based out in they work from home. So we never know the people is taking the data or not, or maybe trying to copy the data from this personal devices. So in our system, in our Kaspersky, can give you the complete log, and we can able to decrypt the complete data. So nobody can able to view the data at any point in time. This is again unique feature that we have. Second thing, as I said before, complete hard disk encryption. So if you lost the laptop, or maybe you missed your laptop, then your hard disk cannot be open, your data cannot be decrypt at any point in time. This is one of the classic feature that we have along with our endpoint. And the third thing is for the mobile device management. So the mobile device management is a key factor now, because most of the attack was happened just because of your mobile is get compromised. If mobile is not secure enough to handle for the real threat, then it's highly possible I can take your mobile as a launchpad. I try to hit your data center, because many of them is installed our mail service in our mobile, right? So we using for checking for email in our mobile itself. In that situation, if my mobile is get compromised, then definitely it's high possible to get your network is get compromised. So Kaspersky is like giving all this one SKU, because we don't want blaming other vendor, because if I take a ownership, we have to take the complete ownership for the computer, the security for the customer environment. So considering this all in mind, Kaspersky giving the single license will have all the functionality which I spoke. And again, this the whole functionality will be available for on-prem and cloud as well. So start from any customer who more than for 10 user to we have for 10,000 customer or n number of customers, we can able to give the complete feature list to the customer. And the next layer, the first layer is for the endpoint, which is the very basic level and very important factor that you need to secure. The next layer is for the network layer. So network layer, we have a two way, which is only for email gateway, and the second is for web gateway. Email gateway that we have for MS Exchange, and we have for O365. We have a clear, strong security portfolio have in place, so we can good enough to handle then those email which came from anything which is like maybe from O365 or maybe from MS Exchange. We can able to give a complete protection to the customer. And the second way is like internet gateway, web gateway. So we have a proxy in place, which is a virtual proxy. So customer has to give a hardware, then our software can run in the particular hardware, and we can give the complete protection for your web gateway as well. So if comprehensive of endpoint and network, I can give you the complete protection for the signature or signature based protection. And the third area is very important, the data security. So many of the customer is not keen about for securing their storage devices. See, I can tell you in a classic example. This was happened in one of the customer place. See, the customer used to, well, I mean, the customer is a large enterprise customer. They keep all the data into the storage. But the problem is like customer, you not install any security for their, storage devices. What happened? Like, they moving all the important file into the storage. But we can create the code, we can create the attack, like, fileless attack, which is like basically the file is come to maybe from commandant to me. That point in time, the file is very genuine. My endpoint says it's very good file, good to open and good to view the data. But I can create the code later on time, maybe 1 month later. This may be the malware function. Or maybe I create the code like, this file act as a hacker and just try to delete the data or encrypt the data completely from your storage devices. So securing for your storage is very important, as like your endpoint, as like your network. Again, this is, I can give in a class, I can normally I can give a logic question or logic understanding to the customer, like how frequent that you are cleaning our water tank. The same way, if you feel that your water tank is very important, then you need to get the clean water, you need to secure your everything with the water, the water level, then you keep cleaning for your water tank, right? The same way, this is data storage or securing for your storage also is very important. We support all this NAS, SAN storages, or anything which is related to the network, and then we can able to give a complete security. This is the basic security foundation. If customer thought that I have endpoint, I have a firewall, I have email security, I have for a storage security, then I am completely stay away from the attack, then I'm sorry to say that you're not actually. You have only for a foundation. So this all the product line that I spoke now, this work on a signature base. If I have a signature, then I can able to give a protection. If I don't have a signature, then we need to think for the advanced level of defense platform, when the Kaspersky can play with the sandbox technology. See, I can give you a classic understanding of ransomware and the target attack, so that you can able to follow my presentation in a proper way. So ransomware is like I create some model, I create some link, I can send it to n number of mails, I can create n number of mail, mail, maybe a web or whatever. So I can blast into many people. Whoever is a victim, whoever is clicking for the link, this guy can be the vulnerable. How I can able to create the code? I know, so Microsoft given a patches for you. If you're not updated, you may be the vulnerable. So this is basically like a collaboration. We know the weakest link. We know Microsoft is given update. The PC is not updated. So there are chances you can get compromised just because of the particular ransomware. This is basically ransomware is like spreading to all the people, whoever is a victim or whoever is a weakest link, they can get compromised. But the target attack is something different. So let's say an example. I just want to attack the company called XYZ. I just pay some dollar to hacker. The command said very clearly, you can hire the hacker at any rate. So this hacker and go do the social engineering in all the angle. Like for example, if you go Google it for a Kaspersky or LinkedIn into the Kaspersky, understand about every one of the presenter today, right? So if you go for a LinkedIn, you understand command and experience. And if you go for a Facebook, you understand about such an interest area. And the same way, I collecting all this data, I can create the relevant data which is very much interest area of Kumaran and Sachin. For example, Sachin is very good in for biking. Then I can create some mail which is very much interest to the very much eager to the Sachin. So the moment Sachin has clicked the link, it's very genuine, because my endpoint says it's very genuine. It's very genuine email ID. There is no the IP reputation is very good. So we said okay to open the file. So the moment you open this particular file, the payload will get downloaded. This hacker start taking a control of your devices. Even you have Kaspersky in endpoint, you cannot able to secure. Even Kaspersky will say like it's very good file to open, but this hacker will monitoring your complete activities start from end to end. The maybe a hacker take a control 6 months later, or maybe 1 month later, maybe a 2 year later. Classic example, Sony is get compromised for 2 years time. will you think the Sony is not having for all this basic level of security? Yes, they have, but still they have compromised for 2 years. So in that situation, you need to have for the advanced platform where I can play with our sandboxing, which is like I do for complete monitoring your activities from anything. For example, I may be a good guy today, if I may be a bad guy today. So this advanced platform, we can provide Kaspersky as a sandboxing story to customer, and this will be keep monitoring every activities. I can monitoring for IP reputation. I can monitoring for where this file get connected. I can do everything, and I can give the report to the endpoint. For example, one file may be the good file for yesterday. If the file is bad file today, then immediately I can give an instruction to my endpoint, go delete the file immediately from the complete network. That's the way that the next layer of security, which is like 0-day production, coming to the place. So first layer is for signature based production. If I have a signature, I can able to production. I can able to protect from the attack. The next layer is for the advanced layer where the signature less production. If I don't have a signature, immediately go for a sandboxing. If we do for a testing the particular file in a different flavor of operating system, if we came to know the file is for a suspicious, immediately we can go and delete the file from your complete network. So I can explain you again. The first layer is for the prevention, the second layer is for the detection, and the third layer is for the prediction. So prediction, again, this is very, very important. The customer thought that my data and my my network is very important. Then they need to think for prediction, security mechanism, where Kaspersky can help you with integrated defense platform, where we have a third intelligence services, and we have honeyspot, and we have many lot things to securing for, or rather I can say protecting for the future attack. For example, we got connected to the dark web, and we got connected into honeyspot. For example, before launching any attack to any company, no, normally hacker will do the virtual attack into the dark web, or maybe in a different level of virtual attack. So in that situation, so Kaspersky can give you the alert to the customer before itself. So for example, the manufacturing customer.
Vanessa, Vittal
Yeah,
here, sorry to intervene here. In the
yeah,
interest of
please, please.
time, I guess you would be sharing some of these handouts which would be available, I guess,
Uh,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
if you think that maybe if you just take a few moments to just wind up, and then we
Uh-huh.
could go with just asking for any more questions, and then in the interest of time, just go to the closing.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I just leave it to just close this session, and then you can always provide your, the full details. I'm sure the whosoever is interested can pick up this information from, you can point to resources where they can.
Okay, so good. So this is a complete integrated platform, start from your signature-based production and signature-less production, and the comprehensive of the complete integrated cybersecurity platform. So in Kaspersky can give all the security start from your basic level to the top level. So next slide. Why choice of Kaspersky? This is very important factor that you need to understand. Like next slide. So as I said before, the Kaspersky is like there are 400 million users protected on a daily basis. Many enterprise customer using for our product line. Next slide. And I mean, this is I said in the very beginning. So we got most award in this world. Start from VB100, AV test report, or NSE Lab virus report. This is all available in cloud. I don't want to spend time here. So we one of the largest, and we one of the toppest endpoint vendor. We got a most awards, and I just want to highlight two things. One is a Gartner report and Forrester's Relevant report. So these are two repeated vendor in this world. They are acknowledging and they are recognizing that Kaspersky is one of the top vendor in this world. Next slide. So that's it from my side. This is all like our recognition, and as I said before, like this after this, COVID-19, then who is a great vendor and who is who will be supporting for the customer and all the time. So
Thank you so much.
that's it from our end. So we can
And
go for a question answer.
the participants have enough information with them now to make their choices. Maybe I think there's
So this, sorry, Vital. So this is our contact details. Take a print, screenshot. So you can reach out to any one of us whenever you got any doubt. I can send you the presentation to Priya, and Priya will share you the presentation to all of you.
Sure.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Priya, do we have any further questions in case somebody has, if they can just ping me, because we just left with a couple of minutes in this session, it'll log out. I guess not. Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate. I think it was a fantastic treat of tremendous amount of knowledge from Ebenezer, from Sachin, of course Kumanan, Harold, and Guna. So I think I'll hand over the session back to Guna for the closing remarks, and then I think we'll close the session. Thanks everyone for your time here, and I guess you have benefited from this session. If you have still further questions, you can always just ping anybody at TiE, and we should be able to get back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vital sir. Once again, good afternoon to all of you. This is Guna here. My heartfelt thanks to TiE in allowing us to give you such a great program. I'm sure the insights given by our team, Stephen, Sachin, and Kumanan would have enlightened you how to stay safe and secure at this point in time. My special thanks to Vital sir, wherever we were going out, you moderated us very well and gave your inputs in a fantastic way. And my special thanks once again for you, sir. My special thanks to all who joined this morning, in spite of all your busy schedule. It was a fantabulous numbers of members who joined in. My special thanks to all of them. Last but not the least, the Kaspersky team who said yes when Sachin initiated this particular idea with me. And the moment I spelled out the TiE name, he was very happy to say, "Go ahead. I will do all kind of needful support." And my special thanks to Stephen once again, who also extended a great support along with Sachin. Not to forget Kumanan and Harold, who were excited and enlightened us all the way through this program and leaving out a tight schedule in spite of the requests which will keep coming from the rest of the world for them. Thank you, each one of you, Kaspersky team. Thank you once again, TiE team. Please do reach out to me. My mobile number is 98422 If you all want to make a note, I'll repeat 98422 Do reach out to me in case you want to have any clarification, the trial license, whatever it is. And if at all you are forgetting, you can always reach out to Priya where you can get the numbers. Thank you very much. Thank you very much once again, all of you.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And thanks the TiE team, especially Priya, Saurav, and the entire team. Of course, Akhila, who has been directing this. So thank you so much to everyone.
Yeah, sorry, I missed, sorry, sir, I missed thanking Priya and Saurav. They did a fantastic job. In fact, running the trial sessions, running this today morning session, keeping us informed, following everything. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Saurav, once again. Bye. Bye, Kama.
Bye.